of us know that yes, USMLE is the exam to prepare for PG in America. So obvious question is now, what is the tuition fee to do PG in USA? Okay, and mind you, I'm asking about a per year fees. Per year fees to do PG. Okay, so this is something I usually ask to students in every seminar, every webinar across India. Prior to lockdown, in fact, a day prior to the lockdown, I was in South India. I was in one of the government college in Mysore, and I did a session. And just when my session ended, the first case of corona had actually come in that college. So I had actually traveled in the last 3-4 years to almost 200 to 250 medical colleges, right from government college in Shimla in the north, Jammu, and down south up till Kerala. So my experience have been to interact with students across the years, right from first year to interns to people who apply for fellowships, senior physicians. And believe me, I am always getting experiences and answers just like this. For example, 100% of people say yes, they are aware of USMLE, but the obvious next question, that do you know that there are no tuition fees to do post graduation in America? Nobody is aware, because moment they hear US, people feel, oh, 50 lakhs will be the fees, 35 lakhs will be the fees, 1 crore will be the fees. No, there is absolutely no tuition fee to do post graduation in America. Doing a PG is like doing a job. So this is second clarity which I want to bring to your attention before I take your questions, that doing a PG is like doing a job. So your admissions are determined on multiple factors. First is your med school performance. Second is your USMLE scores. Third is your CV or a job profile. And fourth is your interviews. So your admissions are sum total of each and everything. First of all, I don't pay tuition fee. On top of it, when I work, I get paid a salary of around 25 to 30 lakhs US dollars in Indian rupees. All right. So that is why it is important that you kind of work around it. All right. So this clarity that I need to build profile, I need to be serious about my med school also. A lot of times I get calls from students, sir, I am preparing for USMLE, so as long as I pass in a med school, will it do? No, it won't. You need to take your medical school as seriously as you're preparing. So I always say, coming into the field of medicine, you have to learn time management. People saying, oh, right now I'm so busy with my med school. Well, I personally know of a senior level surgeon working with a top notch hospital. Okay, he decided to apply for fellowship within a week, where he was conducting 15 to 20 surgeries, managing them, preparing parallelly for step 1 exam, CK examinations, applying for fellowship, finally, completing a 4-year fellowship in US, and then again coming back to India and be a HOD of the top-notch hospital, private hospital in India. That's a tough job. But yes, learning never stops in medicine. That's why it is always called as a practice. And secondly, you need to manage time, whether you are a student, intern, or practicing physician. So exams are always part of your routine, and it's all about how are you going to manage things will decide your journey further. All right. So these things I just wanted to make it very clear with each one of you before I kind of start taking questions from each one of you. All right. Just 2-3 things which I want to just bring to your attention. First of all, why students prepare from the first year? Simply because the curriculum is defined in such a way. All right. So what people do is people try appearing step 1 in the first year, so that in the final year they can prepare and think about the next exam. And then once they get into internship year is when they prepare for the step 2 CK and CS. But this planning or early start helps students. Why? Otherwise, step 1 itself takes 1 extra year. CKCS takes 1 year, and then your application to America is another 1 year. So you'll waste a lot of years after your graduation as well. So your planning or preparation has to be a little early. Alright, this is something which is very, very important for each one of you. Another important information which I wanted to share was the impact on IMG students. What happened is, in the month of February, okay, announcement was made that step 1 will become pass and a fail exam. What happened because of this? Suddenly, a section of IMGs, okay, started announcing the death of USMLE. I mean, they were like, okay, USMLE is done. Don't prepare for USMLE. Nobody will get admission. Well, the same people were making such announcement when first time Trump came into the power. And believe me, I'll show you the data as well. Every year that Trump is in office, the number of people getting admission has increased. Okay, so it is never decreased. But what is happening that people, unfortunately, let's say I am a student, whom should I speak to? Either I speak to a professional, or I speak to the people who are in the US who have actually gone through the journey. Instead, what do? We speak to our seniors. Who are our seniors? Seniors are just one batch, two batch ahead, and they're still in India. So what happens is they will not have a clear picture. And unfortunately, people take advice from either the WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups, basically from people who have not matched. So it is not an advice which is going to help you, because that person does not have best interest of yours in mind, because you are a direct competition to that person, because he is also applying for the same residency. So why will he give you the correct picture? That's a big question. So something, unfortunately medicos don't understand. But point what I'm trying to bring you is, if people get into the web of rumors, you will never make a start. You will always try to, I know of students, same college, same batch, same year, started preparation for USMLE. The first guy on dot in the next 5 years, because they both started in second year, on dot on the 5th year started his PGY1, first year of residency. And second guy who was very busy doing research, going on WhatsApp, Telegram, going on this in forums and doing research, was still researching and didn't even appear step 1. Forget about thinking about NEET PG. So you need to decide which category you are. Either you are a just information loader, or you are actually the one who will execute your dreams. So this is something which you need to understand. Nothing is changing after the announcement of step 1 becoming pass and a fail in terms of your difficulty level to get admission. What is changing is the parameter. Like, the first parameter is step 1 exam. Earlier, 94% of program directors, okay, what do you mean by program director? In India we call them as HOD. In America, what happens is the decision is made by HOD of a particular department. Okay, it's not like the dean decides. So if you want to apply to medicine, you apply to medicine only. If you want to apply to surgery, you apply to surgery department. So decision maker is particular department head, and within the same college, each department can have different requirements of marks and a year of experience, everything. Okay, so typically 94% of program directors wanted to know your step 1 score prior to the announcement which was made in February. Now this will become 100%, but only difference is the programs would want to know whether you pass the step 1 exam in first attempt or not. Okay, second, yes, LOR in the specializations are very important. They were important, they are important. Now what are the LORs? LORs are letter of recommendations which you get when you go for something called as a US clinical experience in America. So one thing you need to understand very clearly in the US process, before you apply for admissions, you already have to decide a specialization, which specialization you want to get matched into, and only in that department is what you apply. So if you are interested in, let's say, medicine, then you need to actually do work in medicine department of an American hospital. A, it's a requirement. B, you get letter of recommendation from those doctors. All right. So this is something which each one of us needs to be very clear. Of course, if you are in first and second year, you don't have to decide now. But once you reach final year and have an experience of interacting and actually working in different departments, you will finally have to take a call on whether you want to, let's say, specialize in which field. And accordingly, you have to build your CV and your profile. So if I'm interested in, let's say, medicine, I will work in medicine department of um, my own college. I'll kind of do CMEs, conferences, attend a lot of events either in medicine or the subspecialization of medicine, for example cardio, gastro, oncology. Okay, so depending on what is my interest, I will plan things. So that's why it is again very important. Okay, these surveys which we do are nothing but to give you a perspective. Okay, to give you a perspective. I understand many of you haven't participated, but those who have participated, there's no harm, there's no marking. It's not that it's going to be you'll be caught, okay, why did you mark this? But yes, the point is, the reason I conduct these surveys to give you a perspective. For example, why did I ask you these questions? Simply because if you see the number of seats available in America and the difficulty level to get the seats, this is the order. Meaning, maximum seats and easier to get specializations are medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, and neurology. Due to the space constraint, I couldn't mention neuro. The second easier are patho, radio, anesthesia. And third, like comparatively competitive or difficult are surgery, OBGY, emergency medicine. And the most difficult, or you can say negligible chances, are opthal, ENT, and dermat in the US. So that is the reason why I had asked this kind of a question. All right, so coming back to our discussion, so which is why based on your specialization you require LORs. Second is your college performance or your dean's letter. Again, was important, is important. Now, 80% of program directors earlier were interested to know about your step 2 CK scores. This will become now 100%. Since exam of step 1 will become pass and a fail, everybody would want to know whether you got 240 plus marks in step 2 CK or not. So you have to take these exams very seriously, whether it is step 1 or CK. Another is personal statement. What is your life's journey? You need to kind of define it very, very clearly. Your interest, your entire focus. Why did you choose medicine? Now, within medicine, why do you want to consider, let's say, a specialization like uh, OBGY? Okay, this is something which you define. Grades in your clerkships, very important. Do you have any failed exam attempts? Now, earlier only 70% of them were worried. Now it will become 100%. Everybody want to know whether you pass this exam in the first attempt or not. What are your class ranking? What is your commitment to specialization? So how do you prove? Is by being involved in these conferences, CMEs, and those activities. And finally, personal prior knowledge. So when you are going for these rotations, or for research, you kind of network with these doctors, and these networking prove to be very useful later on for your admissions. Okay, so remember, USMLE is a career decision. It's a long journey, but end of the day, it's worth it. Okay. And finally, of course, when you go for your interviews, your interpersonal skills, your communication skills play an important role. Professionalism, how do you interact, dressing sense, body language, all of things. The point what I'm trying to tell you is, post COVID, pre COVID, the competition and everything is same. Okay, so do not fall prey to the rumor that things are over. Okay, they are not.